Hello, welcome to the Rhode Island Small Business Coalition's Small Business Forum. I'm your host, David Dadekian, a small business owner here in Rhode Island. I would eat, drink Rhode Island. And we've got another great guest with us today. Thank you, as always, for tuning in and checking out our show. As always, you can head to rismallbusiness.org to sign up for our newsletter, to join the coalition. Lots of exciting things happening with the coalition. So rismallbusiness.org is where you find that. And, of course, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all that. So today we've got Mayor James Diossa with us, former mayor of Central Falls, running for state treasurer this year.
Yeah, thank you, Dave, for the opportunity to come have a conversation with you and your audience, and lucky to be here.
Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate your time today. You got a little lag there with the internet sometimes. There we go. How's that, Mr. Mayor?
Much better.
All right.
Well?
Yes, hear you great. All caught up. Great.
Awesome.
So, as I mentioned, former mayor of Central Falls, but now running for a general treasurer for the state of Rhode Island. We should tell everyone out there, the primary for the Democratic primary is Tuesday, September 13th. So that's the key date right now for voting. And then the general election is in November. But Mr. Mayor, why don't you tell us about a little about yourself and about your campaign for treasurer?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again, and for the opportunity to talk to you and have a conversation, and also interact with the people watching the show. I was the mayor of Central Falls for the past 8 years. Many are aware of the turbulent financial crisis that went on in Central Falls when I took over. It was a city that completely had collapsed, hit rock bottom. Our residents were heavily burdened by so many issues that happened. Our small businesses were again impacted because of the bankruptcy, and so there was a unique opportunity to put a real good team around me to help build the city again. And I think I can't say how proud I am of the work that we did in Central Falls. The team that I built, the outreach that we made, the small businesses that we were able to attract, and we were the small brother of Pawtucket during the Industrial Revolution. And so at some point we were very strong economically during the Industrial Revolution, but we hit our rock bottom, and it was a moment to hit reset and rebuild. And Central Falls feels different, better, and is being recognized not only in Rhode Island but across the country. So I'm running for treasurer because I want to take my elected, tested leadership of navigating through crisis to the state level. And I believe that we need a strong leader in the treasurer's office to not only manage the office and its programs, such as the pensions, the bonding of school construction, the infrastructure bank, but also use the relationships that I've built of being a lifelong Rhode Islander and my advocacy with small businesses.
I'm afraid we might have lost the
importance of small businesses and how they are. And the importance of small businesses being the backbone of our state, and so being able to advocate, use a program like Bank Local, the Treasurer's Office, to help with loans to our small business community is important. And the Treasurer's Office has a bully pulpit that I will be loud and use it to ensure that we keep supporting our small businesses and growing them and giving them a voice at the table when policies are written.
Sounds good. Thank you for that. We did drop you out for just a second there, but I think we got the gist of your message there. I want to talk about that whole aspect of what you did there in Central Falls, because it is a success story. I think for many of our members, our small businesses in the I say Central Falls, Pawtucket area because we always kind of think of it as that one area, because Central Falls is so small. It's 1 square mile, literally 1 square mile. Is it the smallest incorporated city in the country? Is that correct?
One of
We're one of
the more dense communities.
Yes.
23,000 residents.
Right. But yeah, so many great small businesses there. I mean, it's really because of its size, it's kind of known for none of those big box stores and mega stores like that. Really is known for for small business. Yeah, obviously, from my world, the food world, small businesses are very strong there in Cedar Falls. I send people there all the time for
Thank
some
you.
delicious food. But talk about that hurdle for small businesses and what they had to achieve being in a city that was sadly bankrupt.
It's many hurdles, right? One is many families who come from pretty much all over the world uh, know that one of the ways to achieve the American dream is by opening up a small business. And they might not have all the technical skills and all the financial access. And so just there and there, they're able to pull it together, build a business. And one of the things I did as mayor was work with one of our strongest partners, which was Navigating Credit Union and the Northern Rhode Island Chamber of Commerce to assist our small businesses with technical skills, with the understanding of how important it is that they institute some of these protocols, some of the structure needed so that the business is successful long term. And I learned so much through that process. And I think that not only did the existing businesses grow stronger, but new businesses were able to come in fairly quickly. And if you go down our main streets or if you travel around the city, you don't see much vacancy. And I think it's because of the opportunity that we took on of bringing partners, expert partners, and really assist. You know, during the pandemic, it was a scary time. Central Falls was hit extremely hard. There were moments where I signed executive orders asking the businesses only to do takeout. And as you know, that's very impactful on a small business. But, you know, I had to make the best decision for everyone. But, you know, we work very closely with Oscar Mejia and the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Great guy.
You know, again, Navigating Credit Union and the Northern Rhode Island Chamber of helping assist them so that they were able to get the help of the federal dollars that were coming into our state to ensure that they could bridge any costs because of the limitations that we had to put on them because of the current pandemic status. But we have great businesses, a very diverse business. We still have some manufacturing in the city, that we're very proud of, and businesses that still do business around the world. And it's impressive, not only for their work, but also because they employ a lot of residents in the Blackstone Valley.
Right. Absolutely true. Yeah. So you mentioned that word learning curve. I think any person who becomes a mayor or any role, a senator, treasurer, governor, there's a learning curve because obviously you haven't done that role before. But I would imagine the learning curve becoming a mayor and then becoming a mayor of dealing with bankruptcy and all the rest of it, the learning curve is huge. Talk about, you wanting to get into the role of the treasurer and what you think, what you know of the role already, obviously, as that all of us know, but what you think is going to be your process once you hopefully become treasurer.
So the office is one that I've interacted with at an early stage of my political endeavor. Being on the city council and then mayor. I've worked with then Treasurer Raimundo and now Treasurer Magaziner. Pretty much every program, I've had a familiarity because of the interaction that my office has had with the treasurer's office. So, one of them is the pensions. Having our own municipal pension, I understood the importance of pensions, and I just don't look at pensions as a dollar sign. I look at it as these are people who are building a life or are retiring around this retirement. And so, what I learned early on during the bankruptcy is because of the mismanagement of the pensions, the lack of funding it created a situation where the bankruptcy cut retirees 50%. And so that was very devastating. I saw that firsthand. And that immediately gave me a sense of urgency of ensuring that never happened again. And one of the things I did before I left office is I worked with the current treasurer Magaziner. I worked with the legislature and the unions to move our pension system into the state where it's has the experts managing in a larger pool. And so that was one success story. Two is, the program of the treasurer's office that all mayors love is access to low-cost dollars
Right.
for infrastructure. So the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank uh, assisted us through loans to be able to fix some of our infrastructure, which is so important for small business. You don't want a guest or people coming to visit your business and the roads or the sidewalks not being great. So we were
Right.
able to use the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank to elevate our structural issues that we were having during the time and successfully been able to reform and make our city infrastructure better. And school construction, I think that's one of the bedrocks, which will go hand in hand with my next point is, education is so important for Rhode Island, and I've heard that loud and clear from everyone in the business community that we need to do more. And so, given the ability of the treasurer's office, I want to build, renovate more of our schools in Rhode Island so that teachers have the best learning environment. So do the kids. I also want to build upon a key legislation that was passed through the treasurer's office with support of my fiance, Senator Sandra Cano, on financial literacy. We want to be able to empower our kids with more financial literacy skills. And also, it's important because it could translate to one day one of our kids, one of our families, one of our business owners accessing these programs to better be able to manage their money, but also manage their business.
Absolutely true. I think we've talked about with many of our guests here on the show. We've talked about infrastructure and education being vitally important to the base of small business. It doesn't seem like it sometimes. Obviously, when you think small business, you think about regulations, taxes, things of that nature. Obviously, but yeah, I mean, if you can't drive to a business without complaining about the road or the exit, or you can't, you don't have broadband or something, of those basics of infrastructure, you can't run your business. And the same holds true for education. I think. I've just yesterday was having a conversation with someone running for town council here, and we were talking about education and how some people feel that it's not, they don't have kids, it's not their problem, it's not their thing, and my answer to that kind of is like, if you go to a store and you're buying something and the kid behind the counter doesn't know how to make change, doesn't that wouldn't that aggravate you? Wouldn't that that's these are basics that people need to know. I think it's interesting you brought up that financial literacy legislation. I followed it just as a personal interest. It didn't really affect me, but I thought it was very interesting that that's something that the treasurer can do. Obviously hand in hand with the General Assembly, and thank you to your fiance for working on that. But something that the General Treasurer's office can do with legislation is find these things that do impact. Be it education in this case, or other aspects of our legislative process. What do you think about that? What do you think as a treasurer you could impact and draw on?
Yeah, look, I've always been a firm believer, and I've celebrated this every year when it came time to buy local. I believe in buying local. It's not only good for the local business community, but it's also has a greater impact on your local economy. We have to do more. I think it's do more, but from a treasurer's standpoint, and where I would be prioritizing is working closely with the business community and supporting them through our bank local program, but also working with our local chambers to create or support initiatives that we roll out into local communities for more education. As we know, the other piece is, and I go back to my piece on education, is I hear a lot of employers and a lot of small business folks who say they can't find enough workers or workers that could do the job. And so we have to be very cognizant of that. And one of the best things that I did in Central Falls was, bring on a institution like Rhode Island College into the city that set up a satellite building there. And we created a workforce development hub. And part of that is, talking to small businesses and local employers about what are the needs. And, the job of Rick will be to, help find people and educate them and train them so that we have qualified workers to come fill these jobs, especially now at a great urgency. And two is, there's a big development happening in Pawtucket, on the border of Pawtucket and Central Falls with the train station. And so,
I was going to bring that up as more infrastructure aspects. That's yeah. Please tell us about that.
yeah, that's a very big thing that Grebin and I worked on, and we were able to work successfully with the congressional delegation and the state officials at the time. I can't remember how long ago this was, but this is going to open up next year, and so it's going to bring more people, give people more access. It's going to drive more businesses to open in this Blackstone Valley, and so it's an exciting time. So we've taken steps to ensure that we can meet the demand of the time with the opportunity that important piece like a train station will bring into the region.
Absolutely, yeah. No, and it's an impressive construction. I've been over that way a few times and seen it as the progress happens. It's neat. It's really neat to see. Yeah. So no, I think it's a great example. I was looking at your website. We should mention that Diossa4RI.com. It's Diossa4RI.com. And of course, the pension is top and first most as we talked about. But that not as vital in the small business community, but vital to many members of our community. So that's great. We talked about schools. You have climate change on here as something that you think about. How do you see the treasurer's role in something that is
Well,
constantly affecting us every day?
yeah, climate change is something that I take very seriously. I took bold steps when I was mayor because especially in a urban community like Central Falls, climate change is real. It impacts us every single day, and particularly the health of our residents. And so I'm going to be very active in the sense that we need to be more mindful of how we invest some of the dollars through some of our programs in the treasurer's office, such as like the infrastructure bank or school construction, so that we are able to be more green efficient. Part of my plan is that these schools that are getting built, that they be LEED certified, and so these are all again small steps, but that will make a big difference. And
right.
Having next month she'll turn 3. I'm thinking about her life too, and so we all see the data and how real it is and how it can impact just a daily person, but also our small businesses. Costs could be driven up even more because of climate change, and I want to take serious steps to help address it or play my part as a treasurer.
Interesting. It's again a role that I think not enough people know a lot about. They think treasurer, they think pension, but I think you're right. There's opportunities there. And then another one on the website here that you mentioned is advocacy, shareholder advocacy, and you specify common sense gun reform. What are your thoughts there? And what can what can the treasurer's office do there?
Absolutely. Well, the treasurer invests a lot of money, and we're big shareholders in some of these companies, and using our voice as an active member at the table to discuss issues that are pertinent to Rhode Islanders is important, and that's why I put out a piece about being an active shareholder. In particular, this one is with some of our credit card agencies that are still allowing for the purchase of ghost guns, and it's a serious matter. These are guns that end up in communities that end up hurting someone, killing someone, and it's not a good thing, especially as mayor, getting a phone call that a young resident has been killed is the worst call, and even worse when you go and see the families in this array. It's very painful, and so this is a way that I will be very active as a shareholder, and especially on the issues of guns.
Thank you. I don't think enough people understand. Essentially, the treasurer's office manages a portfolio of stocks and bonds and all the rest. And I know, Treasurer Magazine in the past talked about divesting from Iranian oil stocks, I believe it was at the time when there was some issues around that. What do you see as something that perhaps that advocacy can be done to help small businesses too? Because I think there's lots of great opportunities there that may not, obviously, you want the pension fund to, increase and stay strong. And that does rely on a lot of large corporations in the fund. But what do you see for small businesses there?
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity, with the treasurer's office. Again, having the ability to interact with other state agencies and being an advocate is one important one. Two is what I said with the program that we have of our bank local to give access to dollars to our small business community. I also think it's important that, when we are rolling out money for different projects, that they be extremely mindful of using local businesses to purchase their needs to be able to create the project. And so that's another important aspect that I hope to push. And, I still believe that, there are still some businesses that are still recovering from the pandemic.
Yeah.
And while their doors are still open, they're struggling. And we need to have an open ear and being intentional about going out there and listening. And I'm sure I'm going to do a lot of that because, again, it's in my nature of being a mayor. And we were creative when we were at the local level. We would do restaurant week with Pawtucket, and so that would help bring people over. But being very intentional about how we could use that office is my number one priority as small businesses.
Oh, sounds great. Have you been crisscrossing the state, campaigning all over?
Yeah, it's been great. I get to eat at different places, see different types of businesses. We're lucky. We're lucky to live in Rhode Island, to have the type of business that we do. The fact that we could travel the whole state in one day is so important, and the access for our small businesses is important. And I really celebrate that by living in Rhode Island, and I want to continue being a champion for small businesses in every possible way that I can.
Thank you. Is there anything we didn't touch upon here today that you wanted to bring up? Anything we didn't talk about?
I think you did a great job, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you. And I hope to invite you to the Blackstone Valley to have a good drink. One of the great projects that opened before I left was Shark Peruvian Cuisine, which is on the Blackstone River. It's doing great. You should come try it out and be my guest.
Yeah, I've heard good things. I haven't been to that one yet, but I've been to many places in Central Falls. It is a real culinary highlight of our state.
Yeah.
And, I just did an interview myself about a few months ago with Lonely Planet, and we highlighted Central Falls.
Oh, good.
Nice, yeah. So that's hopefully
Yeah,
that'll be coming out soon.
Yeah.
But thank you, for bringing that up. Thank you as always for your time, and good luck with the race for treasurer. As I mentioned, it's the primary. Which is the first round, essentially, is Tuesday, September 13th. So please, if you're not registered to vote by now, you should be registered. Please get out there and register, and then vote in the primary on Tuesday, September 13th. Our guest, Mayor James Diossa, running for General Treasurer of the state of Rhode Island. Thank you for your time today, sir.
Thank you, Dave. Have a good day. Take care.
Well, thanks again for watching. It was another fantastic conversation. I really enjoy all these talks we have with the folks around our state, our elected officials, and people campaigning. It's a great conversation. As always, like I mentioned at the top of the show, rismallbusiness.org is where you can sign up for the coalition. We're here for all small businesses, any small business across the state, not just particular industries, but any small business. Please sign up at we changed our website. I apologize. risbc.org. It's risbc.org. And thank you again for watching. Take care.